Good morning. I'm Nancy Condon with Two Naturalists, and today I find myself in a beautiful forest of mountain laurel, Kalmia latifolia. Westerners, sorry, you don't have that out there growing wild. This is a strictly East Coast Appalachian mountain sort of plant. They love acidic soils along with their relatives in the Ericaceae family or the heath family that include rhododendron, azalea, cranberry, blueberry, those plants that have a nice sturdy waxy leaf that love acidic soils. And this is a mountain laurel hell, some people call it, because it is so thick that it's hard to get through in some places. And one of my favorite things about mountain laurel is the blossom. And we've hit it just right here at this time, late June, early July, where the blossoms are just in bunches. But this is just a small sampling of some of the blossoms, and you'll see in some places where it's shaded, although it's a shade tolerant plant, the ones that are shaded don't bloom nearly as much. They like sunshine to produce a profuse amount of blossoms. We'll go to a place where it's really sunny here in a moment to see a whole lot of these fantastic Kalmia latifolia blossoms. So here we are in a beautiful wide open space and full sunlight, and look at this mass of blossoms on these mountain laurel bushes right here. Fantastic. Now, although it's beautiful eye candy and very ornamental, this plant, I gotta caution you, is toxic to wildlife, to domestic animals, to people. Do not ingest any part of it, from the leaves to the bark to the roots. It could cause pretty severe gastric distress. So consider it toxic, consider it just eye candy. It is beautiful, but it's not toxic to insects. That would be detrimental for them. They want to attract insects in order to achieve pollination. So if you can come in and take a good close look at one of the blossoms here, it's an ingenious invention. Mountain laurel has come up with truly a better mousetrap for achieving pollination. And this is my favorite part of this plant. Okay, let me pause here just a moment for us to review a little flower anatomy. Okay, the sexual parts of the flower include the female part called the pistil, and its job is to receive the pollen, and eventually the seeds will be formed. The male parts are called the stamens, and it's composed of a skinny filament, a stalk, and at the end is the anther. And the anther is where the pollen is formed. So the ingenious part of mountain laurel, or the filament is bent over, the anthers are tucked into a little pocket on the side of each of the petals. So thereby the filament is making kind of a spring-loaded thing, so that when it rains, no pollen is lost. It's expensive to produce that. But when an insect comes, such as a bumblebee or a butterfly, they land on that filament and boing, it's triggered and the anther is whacked onto the back of the insect, and the poor insect goes along being whacked by all these filaments, and they get pollen on their back. The next flower they go to, it gets transferred to the stigma on the pistil, thereby achieving pollination. They don't treat their insects very well. One thing though is that it's a one-time thing. Once that filament is snapped like a mousetrap, it's done. Can't do it again. But you should go outside and enjoy the fantastic structure of these flowers. Here in June, look at the little red ring that attracts the insects, and it's a amazing ingenious thing that these flowers and their insect pollinators together have made this partnership. Get out and enjoy it. Again, this is Nancy Condon with Two Naturalists.